Society Matters.
Hello, I'm Bernie Furshpan here at HMTV at the Holocaust Memorial and Tolerance Center. I'm your host for a wonderful podcast series called Ordinary Heroes. We have some local heroes that we invite to our studio who have done some incredible things. We have a local hero here today that I consider him a hero. He does not, but I do. He's done some amazing things for the Jewish community, and I want to enlighten all of you and put some light on it. Andy Zeidman, thank you so much
for
being here today, and I'm grateful you took the time. I know you got a busy schedule.
Pretty much.
You're practicing, I'm going to say this correctly, maxillofacial physician. Surgeon. I screwed it up. There I go.
You were close.
Now, you said you just pull teeth. I think you do a lot more than pulling teeth.
Yes.
Would you say?
I used to do a lot more in hospitals.
I see. Are you kind of winding down to some degree?
Yeah.
Do you have anybody taking over your practice, like your son?
I sold my practice like 4 years ago.
Oh, I see.
And I would have retired, but my wife didn't want me in the house. So now I go work for a big practice a few days a week.
Get out of here.
Yeah. It's productive.
Well, maybe she doesn't want to be interrupted with what she's doing in the kitchen or something.
No, she works for JASA. She's a nurse.
Oh, she's a nurse. Okay.
She's a nurse, and she's a community nurse for a huge program helping the aged. She does very good things.
That's wonderful. So the two of you feel very fulfilled.
Yes.
You have children?
I have 3 from my first marriage, but she raised them with me.
I see.
The mother was out of the picture, so I raised 3 children, 2 grandchildren.
That's nice.
Yeah.
And you feel satisfied in life?
Frustrated.
To some degree.
Yeah.
I get it. I get it. Why, this is why I do what I do, right? There's something else that you feel compelled to do to help other people, right? To do something good in society, to feel valuable in some way.
Purpose, to give you purpose. Purpose to actually...
They say without purpose, there's no direction.
I have found that out.
Right?
In the last...
When you have a purpose, you have a direction, right? There's a mission. So, but you've been very involved in the Jewish community in the North Shore, I would say, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
And why, may I ask? Why you, and what compelled you to be involved? What was the reason?
As many people, after October 7th, my friend Ronan Nutra, his son was one of the hostages.
Yes.
And he was an acquaintance. We played pickleball together, but it just hit me that either I'm going to go and get a gun and kill a bunch of people, or I'm going to do something positive.
Right.
And I started going to temple more to fill in, praying, services on Shabbat. And the rabbis there helped me focus on doing something positive, and always, so right away we started with hosting events, fundraisers, and a million other things, basically.
That's wonderful. I find that a lot of the people in the Jewish community kind of went back to their roots, kind of reinforced their involvement in the community because they feel united, they feel supported, they feel safer in that community, especially today with the rise in anti-Semitism.
To a degree, there were 2 types of people, one that hid their Magen David and didn't share that they were Jewish, and then there were the ones that I tried to inspire. But I put up a giant flag on my door, put lawn posters all over my lawn on my block, and started organizing counter-protests, and other events to get people. A lot of people were reluctant to engage in this struggle, basically.
So tell me about this activism, this counter-protesting. How effective did you find that they were?
We show up. I don't think it's all that much. I joined a group called Lions and Zions in New York City, and we've gone to different places, Washington Square, wherever they show up, we show up, always in a smaller number. But it was shocking I did one with a friend of mine, Gary Jacobs, out here on Long Island in Hicksville last November, and there was like 1,000 of them and like 50 of us.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was scary to know in our community how vile and how much anti-Semitism just came right to the surface. It wasn't...
Meaning that it was always underneath the surface, and it just took a little trigger for people to react this way. And it makes you feel uncomfortable about your neighbors, right? Because these are neighbors to some degree.
A lot of friends lost, a lot of neighbors who I would have over for social gatherings all of a sudden didn't want to come to events that I was holding because of it being Jewish related.
I see.
And a lot of people of name, I won't give names, but
Right.
I was surprised.
It's disappointing, isn't it?
Very disappointing, very.
Because you thought friendship is pretty deep, but it may not be that deep sometimes, right?
It's not.
Yeah. Well, some are.
No, some are,
Some
but
are,
a lot
sure.
aren't. I mean, I look at my guest list now compared to 2 years ago, it's a lot different.
Yeah.
And it's even in the Jewish community. I've just checked out a lot of Jewish friends that I don't even understand them.
Yeah. That's disappointing too. Right. Because we really need to unite and stand strong.
Yeah.
Because, we've always been saying never again. We'll always stand together. We'll always fight together. History can't repeat itself. That's why we educate about the Holocaust. And here we are, 2024, 2025. And it's kind of repeating itself to some degree. We're not Nazi Germany, thank God. We're in a terrific country. We're in a great country. There's a lot of opportunities here. People can speak freely as long as it's not vile and incites violence. But you've been to protests where they incite violence to some degree. Some of them are calls for genocide. Would you agree?
I've been at protests where they've maced us, try to hit us with cars. They get away with it because
they maced you
my friend had to go to the hospital. He got sprayed
and
in the
hit
face,
by cars.
and the car tried to ram us.
Unbelievable.
And the environment of New York City is such that they protect the criminals, not the victims. Right now, it's horrible. So it's not even. It's like I avoid it now. This was in Borough Park, across from Yeshiva. Wow. They don't care where they go everywhere. It's different. I do the ones in the city, but when you do one in Nassau, you know, we're protected. We're a lot safer. They're not anxious to come out here and create trouble, although they try. Mm-hmm. I'm doing a lot of things other than that, though, that I think that I'd like to jump into.
Sure, please do.
There's I'm working with Voices for Truth and Humanity.
Right.
And
with Jack.
With Jack. I met with him before I came here.
Yeah, he's terrific.
Yeah, and
he's doing some great things.
We're trying to get education,
right?
Basic things. I'm working with Zaka Resilience. Mm-hmm. She's coming in from Israel. We're trying to get them funded too, because there's a lot of depression there and here.
Right.
And they're creating, programs for people to get counseling because we're hurting. People are scared. People are depressed. There's another organization I just started working with, a media entity. There's so much propaganda out there. The mainstream media is our enemy. It's propaganda. It's not news. It's just. So I'm working with Jonathan Conricus and Ariella Novak. They've created a media platform to counteract it. Mm-hmm. It's where you can go for the truth.
Right.
We all doing like similar things with education, with media, to try to make a difference, to try to at least fight back. Because I just was talking to Michael Cohen.
Right.
You know Michael.
Mm-hmm.
He was trying to get a letter last night that the Colbert Show put on Zoran. Like, how do you do that?
Right.
And it's disgusting how they portray this guy as like normal when I've seen him get arrested at protests for screaming for intifada.
Right.
It's mind-boggling.
Right.
So it's frustrating, but we do everything we can do.
Intifada is not just a mission against Jewish people. It's a mission against the West in general.
Yeah.
And look, everybody has their perspective. If I grew up in that environment, I'd be them. If they grew up in my environment, they'd be me, right? Unfortunately, people don't understand each other, and I think that we need a reboot of some kind, where we start from scratch. They have in Israel some schools and academies where Arab-speaking students, Hebrew-speaking students, and Christian students go to school together. There's an academy, the Jerusalem Academy of Music and Dance, where they're all performing together. They perform in concerts. They work together.
That's wonderful.
That's a reboot. And they realize that they're the same. They have the same needs, same desires, same fears, same anxiety. And everybody wants to be validated and have a peaceful life. But when there's ideologies to destroy another group of people, this to me is what Hitler was doing in the 30s. This ideology to purify a people, to eliminate a group of people based on what? A religion? It doesn't make sense to me.
I've put together a group of Muslims, Hindus, Christians, and Jews. We've gone around to Westchester. We've gone to different places and held multi-ethnic, multicultural unity events.
I love that.
And we have a great reception. We've had a tremendous amount of...
Why don't you talk more about that? That I like. That's where you're an outstanding hero, a local hero. Yeah, because what you're doing is you're doing something positive. No, rather than just fighting the negative, but you're also at the same time.
We've done a lot of positive. I did started a special program. I made a huge commitment to the Mid-Island JCC Food, the Budman Family Food Center. We established a program for the Holocaust survivors, food insecurity, which is disheartening. There's 500 of them left.
Right.
So my wife and I made a huge 5-year commitment to support a program to feed them. Mm-hmm. So that was one positive thing. These unity events are another thing that we're doing.
Now, I saw you the other day at an event, right, with almost 100 survivors. There's about 500 survivors on Long Island. It's amazing they're still around. They're not young anymore, and they're not going to be around forever. So to show them some kind of, to honor them, right, in some way, so they're not forgotten. I think they were so grateful to be recognized, right? I wish all of them were there that day, but not all of them could make it.
Right. They're inspirational. I mean,
they really are.
I brought along the performers that day were people that I brought to perform there. And this girl, Ghazal Mizrahi, who you should talk to.
Yes.
Because the young people are the ones that we have
She's terrific.
They don't get paid to do this. They give their time. Right. And the emotional, what she got out of it, she thanked me for the next 3 days about how thanks for being a part of it.
It's worth more than money. We know that.
Yeah, it's the real...
It's the real deal.
It's the real deal. We're doing something for Omer. I've done a lot of events for the hostage families. Mm-hmm. And we're doing one for Omer Nutra's parents on July 2nd, a pickleball event at 6 in the evening at the center in Syosset.
Very nice.
And we already have 150, 200 people.
Fantastic.
Coming. We have pros from Israel coming. We're going to have,
Fantastic.
These are you talk about heroes. Omer Nutra is a hero.
Right.
The heroes aren't here anymore.
But you facilitate these opportunities, and that's what's important. Somebody's got to somebody's got to pull it together.
Yeah, no, you have to do it.
Somebody's got to pull it together, and you do that. And there's a lot of great people who are jumping on this opportunity to help out, to make a difference.
It is. You need people doing. People think, they say, but if you don't do, what's the point?
Right.
So it's very heartening now that we're growing and people are still...
Sure. Let me ask you, were your parents or relatives of yours survivors of the Holocaust?
My father-in-law was a survivor.
Okay.
Lost 7 siblings and parents.
Yeah.
My parents, my father and my uncle served in World War II. They were here, but no, they weren't. But
my father was the only survivor in a family of 8.
Wow.
And he lived in a forest for 3 years. From age 10 to 13. Imagine a kid, a 10-year-old, foraging for food, eating dead carcasses of rabbits and mushrooms and berries. And so many times he was almost killed by the Nazis who were hunting him down. Wow. But somehow he managed to escape, somehow, some way, and I'm grateful for that because I wouldn't be talking about it. 14 people were born because of him. That's why I have to honor his story. It's an incredible story.
That's great.
But, this is the Holocaust Memorial and Tolerance Center. We're very much involved in educating young people, but also, working together with the district attorney. So I created a public service announcement with the DA that was sent to schools to tell the kids, there's her point of view and there's my point of view. My point of view is learn about the Holocaust, reach higher for yourselves, reach higher for society. And she says, if you don't, and you commit a crime, you're going to jail. So we have the deterrence and we have education. It's a great and winning combination. It really is.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, it really is. And, the teachers, the principals, the superintendents are saying that those that spoke with me, that it is impactful. There's a follow-up workbook with it, and the kids really didn't realize that it's a crime. Not everybody knows this. There's a lot of ignorance out there, as we know, and they need to be educated. That's educate mitigates ignorance.
I was involved. One of the early things I did was with the Syosset School District. I was called in to help, and we wrote a petition, and we had 5,000 signatures, and they didn't even want to know about it. There was all kinds of blatant anti-Semitism in Syosset. Swastikas, goose-stepping marches. You had a few Islamist families, radicals, posting videos calling for genocide. I mean, it was insane.
Families of students.
And the students. I have it was crazy. And then there was Half Hollow Hills with the watermelon and the superintendent. This is going on right now.
Right.
We're fighting where they have a Regents packet calling Israel a colonizer in the New York State Regents.
Yeah, we saw that. Sure, that was in the papers.
Right.
Sure.
Well, we got it there. It was last weekend, 2 weeks ago. The undercurrent of anti-Semitism and ignorance is mind-boggling. I mean, it's over the top here, and we have to fight it. But education, yeah.
What do you lose sleep over?
I don't sleep anymore.
You don't sleep anymore. So.
My wife goes, "You're on the phone at 2:00 in the morning. You're at 3. I'm talking to people in Israel, and this. I just am stuck. I'm keep doing. I lose sleep over that. This family doesn't have their son back.
I totally get it. I'm also holding my breath in a way too, because I want life to become a little bit more normal, because it has been normal since October 7th, October 8th, I should say.
Yeah.
But even October 7th.
Listen, I worked 3 days. I played pickleball 6 hours a day.
Well,
now I don't do it anymore.
Nothing at all?
No,
Okay.
like a little bit, a tournament here and
Unless
there.
There's a tournament, yeah.
Right, but it's become,
Yeah, it's become your life.
It is.
It's become your mission, I think most people that get involved in campaigns like this, it's kind of like a rabbit hole, like myself. It's a rabbit hole, and the deeper you go, the harder it is to come out, because then you feel so obligated that you feel responsible to a point that if you get out of it, like who's going to do it? Because you know what you're doing. You know how you're doing it and how you're pulling it together. And you're pulling apparently a lot of things together. And I commend you. That's why I invited you to be here, because you're a very humble guy. But let me ask you, what's worse, pulling teeth in the office or pulling teeth outside?
No, the office is nothing.
That's a joke. That's like a vacation.
It is.
Yeah.
It's where
it's therapeutic.
It is therapeutic. That's it. That's the only therapy, is actually taking care of people in that venue, as opposed to this, because there's a lot of, in our community, cognitive dissonance, suicidal empathy. You can't get through to people. They're hardwired to.
Wow.
We just keep going, but.
Wow. Thank you so much for all you do.
Thank you for having me.
Tell me a little bit more about yourself, a little bit about your background. Before all of this, what was life like for you?
I was winding down for my career. I was playing sport, pickleball became thing. I played in state tournaments. I played tournaments every.
You really got into it?
Yeah, I was a tennis player. I was a baseball player.
Wow. Do you miss any of that?
No.
You don't think about it? You don't think about it. It's not important right now.
No.
That's really what happens, right? Your priorities change.
totally have changed. I can't even focus on that because
Right.
what's next, what's coming next,
Right.
You draw inspiration from these families amidst the terrible year that this has been the most rewarding in some ways.
Right.
As we talked about purpose and like fulfillment, like we're on this planet for a reason, and now I know what the reason is. This is what I have to do.
Right.
And you look at these families to draw strength. How do they get up in the morning? Their son's dead body is lying in a tunnel in Gaza.
Awful.
How do they function? This lady, can I tell this quick story?
Sure, please.
Einav Danino.
Yeah.
I don't know Einav Danino. I was told that her son Ori's story. Ori went to the music festival, met some friends, went with friends, met some new girls there. Nova went there just to have a good time. In the morning, when everything went down, Ori grabbed his friends, got in his car, and drove and got away. They got home.
Right.
He got a call from the girls that they're still there. He went back. They go, you can't go back there. He went back, Ori. He left his friends. They said, you're crazy. He went back, and the three of them got captured, him and the two girls,
So they were still
at the festival.
there.
He just met them.
Right. And yeah.
He went back, got captured. The girls were released in a prisoner exchange, not Ori.
Uh-huh.
He was kept in a tunnel for 300 days with 5 others, with Hirsch Goldberg,
Right.
with Eden Yerushalami.
So he got released eventually.
No, he got shot after 300 days. His last act on the planet was hugging Eden Yerushalami, shielding her from the bullets that were killing them.
Oh, that's awful.
The mother, I brought her in. I flew her in from Israel to speak at Midway Jewish Center. And she is blessing Hashem for having the miracle of being able to bury her child. And the strength that she shows, and she gave me this, if she could,
This is so disturbing.
there's a lot of stories like this. But this one was like, so we do everything we can for this person.
There's a lot of stories, a lot more than people know. It's kind of
Yes.
like the Holocaust. The more I got involved, the more I realized it's a bottomless pit of stories.
Yeah.
And they're all very similar, just different circumstances, different names, different places, but it's all pretty much the same.
But they need to be told. And they
Right,
need
they
to be
have to be
remembered.
told, yes.
Yeah.
But now we're going to be incorporating some other stories. We have to because it's relevant, it's contemporary, and people think these are things of the past. But they're not. And unfortunately, since the Holocaust, some 80 years ago, 50 million people have been killed in genocides around the world. It's not just Jews, as we know. It's happening in the Sudan, it's happening in China, it's happening in Ukraine, as we know. A lot of kids were kidnapped over there. And
No, Sudan, I'm close with Simon Deng. He's an activist.
Yeah.
Do you know him at all?
no,
Look him up after this. But
What's his name?
Simon Deng, D-E-N-G. He's spoken in a lot of events. He wears a Star of David now. He's Sudanese, giant guy. He was a slave. He was literally a slave. They came to him, they killed his family, and took him as a slave.
oh my God.
And he talks about real genocides and real massacres,
Right.
not this nonsense now.
Yeah.
But he's very inspirational, and he actually walked from Jerusalem to Tel Aviv wearing a Israeli flag.
Amazing.
Is
He local?
Yeah, he speaks in the city a lot of the events
Okay.
that we have. He's a remarkable guy, but
We'll have to get in touch with him because
he's
you see people suffer everywhere. And this is what we're trying to stop, human suffering. We live on a tiny little planet in the middle of this vast universe. We share this tiny little pebble, right? And we can't get along. It's so ridiculous. We can do a lot better. But it's not congruent with the technology that we have, the advancements that we have. It just doesn't match. It seems like cave people are looking on their phones. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's two different mentalities. You got advancement and you have somebody who's throwing rocks and sticks and trying to figure out how can I throw a rock, on social media and hurt somebody. And it's just unfortunate that that we still have this component in humanity. And I think we will probably always have this. It's just a matter of good winning over evil.
Yeah.
The majority of the world is good. But good people could be manipulated, they could be lied to, they could be coerced to do bad things. And they don't realize it. Even many of the Nazi members after the war felt very guilty because they were misled to believe that a group of people, the Jews, were not human, that they were like rats. They actually believed it, that they were subhuman, that they were a master race. But see, that's how easy, this is how fragile society is.
Probably in the works. They at least were shamed by it, and they went home and drank, and they had to hide their,
Sure.
Well, now.
Yes.
Now these people are,
they're out in the open.
They're bred this way. The world is trying to hide it. The world tried to expose the Nazis.
Right.
The world is trying to hide this stuff.
Right.
And it's... But
because the world is, in a way, embarrassed about what's happening to, its own people. We're all relatives, and this is how we treat each other. It's an awful thing.
I work at the United Nations in a group we have called End Anti-Semitism, Promote Peace. It's an NGO of the United Nations. Our one goal is to get a resolution to really define genocide. Because if the United Nations, which is supposed to be an arbiter of truth and justice and love and unity, can just say one sentence, this is not a genocide, how much of this would all go away?
Right. That's so true.
But they can't. Their mission is so perverted.
So true. I mean, just by definition, by the name itself, united. Where is their unity? I don't get it. Anyway,
united against Israel.
Andy, thank you. Andy Zeidman, thank you so much
thank you.
for being here with me today.
Pleasure.
Yeah, you're terrific. Thank you for all you do. And I want to thank our audience for listening in on our conversation here on HMTV. I'm your host, Bernie Furshpan, on the series, Ordinary Heroes. Until next time.